Well, frankly, I've worked all over the world. I'm from Holland, and there's not much of a car industry in Holland, so you have to go outside to learn the trade. So I went in Italy, I worked in Italy 3 years, then I went to Audi in Germany, Ford in the US, Mazda in Japan, and finally I arrived at Renault in France. Well, of course, it was a huge step to leave Japan with friends and family, come back to Europe. So on the one side, it feels like I'm coming home. On the other side, it's a huge step for me and my family. Mais j'ai dû apprendre le français, hein? Alors je suis toujours en train d'apprendre, mais le français ça va assez bien maintenant. J'ai trouvé que les gens sont très chaleureux et ils m'ont bien accueilli en fait. Et à la fin, je dirais que je suis très heureux d'être ici, hein? Renault Design's reputation is huge and it's very famous. So the idea to work with a design team like this was very exciting. Well, Renault is a brand that has the human in the center. And so we're looking at creating designs that are very human, in terms more sensual, very exciting, very warm. And we're going to bring a lot of passion back into the brand. But at the same time, I know that with my arrival and the state of the industry, it's really necessary to change. That's why our signature is also drive the change. So the changes we're going to do in design is much more of a break with the past, and it'll be very exciting. Human, warm, innovation, and of course, joie de vivre, a French aspect that is very important to me. Renault is part of the fabric of France. It's a very important market for us. Renault is the biggest one in France. Of course, Renault has played a big part of the history of France, and we're very woven into the fabric. So I think it's a very positive point, and I think it's something that we can use in the future. It's always very interesting to look at your past, and Renault, I think of all the brands, has a very rich history. There's plenty of icons in the past, but since I just started, my job is to create the future first. So I think in the beginning, I want to make sure we create a new history for Renault, and then when it's necessary, we'll look at the past and we'll see if we can create some exciting vehicles on top of that. Well, I think it's a big part of what Renault is about. I think if you're a generalist brand like Renault is, it's important to have an offer that goes from small cars to sports cars to utility vehicles, and of course also the bigger cars, so big sedans, big monospace. And we're working very hard on it, how to redefine them for the future, and it's going to be a central part of our strategy. Well, the first projects that we are working on and the fastest that you will see are the concept cars. So already in the Paris Mondial in October, you will see the very first of a series of concept cars that we are creating in the design team right now. And because it's the first one, it has some of the key elements that you will see appear on the production vehicles, like an identity, a certain form language, and you'll see that it's a very passionate vehicle. Then we'll use the things that we learn with our concept cars on our production vehicles. And the first one to really apply all these things will be the new Clio. So Clio 4 in 2012 around. Renault is a company that's very innovative, and that's one of the things that attracted me tremendously to come to France. And I think Renault is very close to taking a leadership role in the electric vehicles, and it's fantastic that you can have vehicles for everybody that have zero emission. In terms of the role that they play, it's really the chance for us to create an image of leadership, and for that reason alone we support it very much. Now from our side in design, we need to make sure that we communicate the values of electricity, so it's cleanliness, serenity, how to design silence. So these are the words that we're playing with in the series of electric vehicles that we are creating at the moment. Because we are a generalist brand and we make cars for people of all walks of life, we need to make sure that we have a very wide range. And it's true that we are very strong in the emerging markets like South America, but also Russia and also India, where we have started to create the first studios. To help this, we have a studio in Sao Paulo, for instance, a small design studio right in the heart of the city. We also have a studio in Mumbai in India. We have studios in Korea. We have a studio in Eastern Europe, in Bucharest. So we try to be everywhere where we can learn something about the people, their needs, and then to develop the cars specifically for them. Well, for me, if you have three brands, three marks, it's three opportunities to create, to attract people. And so my goal is with the design team to create a separation of the brands. So we have a clear Renault, a clear Dacia, and a clear Renault Samsung. Of course, there is still a lot of work to be done because some of these brands are still very young. You know, Dacia is not even at 10 years old recently, and also Renault Samsung is not very old. So it's a very exciting time actually to join Renault at this moment to create these brands of the future. Well, I couldn't think of a better place to be right now. Très heureux d'être à Paris et vraiment je ne pouvais pas rêver mieux.